Hi everyone, this is Alex. I'm here all by myself without Brenda, and I'm not sure I know how to act, but I am going to be doing our tools for our Good Together marriage season. And this is the tool for creation. And we talked in creation about how we're all image bearers and how our image bearing comes to play in marriage, and that we want to create a place where we can flourish as people, as individuals who come together, and then how we can flourish as a couple. And so one of the first tools that we're going to do today is we're going to actually do two tools today on how to build a culture of flourishing. I've been really influenced in my own marriage counseling and in my own marriage by the Gottmans, who are two marriage researchers who are married, John and Julie Gottman. They have been studying marriage for 40 or 50 years. And what I love about the Gottmans is that they are highly practical. They really like to give us tools that help build emotional intimacy, build trust, and build connection within marriage. And so it can seem like these tools are small things or mundane even ways to think about saving a marriage or building connection in marriage, but that's actually what I like about it, is that they're very practical and that they do a great job in breaking down and showing us how small moments lead to big connections. So today we're going to talk about how to build a culture of flourishing for each one of the individuals in marriage as image bearers and as a couple in two ways. We're going to talk about how to do bids for connection, and we're going to talk about how to express appreciation and gratitude. Now, bids for connection is just a terminology that the Gottmans use to talk about how to take everyday small efforts. These can be verbal or they can be nonverbal ways to seek your partner's attention, affection, or some type of emotional connection with them. And the idea here is that when you turn toward your partner in a bid for connection, you're making a deposit in the emotional bank account. And when you turn away from your partner when they have made a bid for connection and you don't meet it, you're actually making a withdrawal. And just like your real bank account, a zero balance means you're in trouble, and a negative balance means you're in big trouble. So to be satisfied in the relationships, we as couples want to focus on increasing our deposits, increasing these positive interactions, and then minimizing the negative interactions or the withdrawals. The Gottmans have said in their research that during conflict now, we need to have 5 positive interactions to every 1 negative interaction. That's in order to stay connected in the conflict. And then in everyday life, just normal life, we want to try to have 20 positive interactions to every 1 negative interaction. That ratio is going to be the ratio that helps build emotional connection, helps build trust, connectedness, a feeling of safety within the marriage. So when someone turns towards you, when you make a bid for connection and they turn towards you, what they're doing is they're saying, like, I'm interested in you. I see you. I understand you. I like you. I want to be with you. So what is a bid for connection? It's really simple. One of the bids for connection that we talk about a lot around my house, because we're old and our kids laugh at us, and we love our birds and our bird feeder, and we have a little courtyard outside of our sunroom. And in the courtyard, we've put a bird feeder and a bird bath. And almost every morning, either my husband or I will call to one another and say, you got to come here. You got to see the cardinal's feeding her, the cardinal daddy's feeding the cardinal mama. Or, hey, you need to come look. There's a chipmunk in the bird bath and he's so cute. And just that small thing is, hey, you need to come see, is a bid for connection. Now that's like a come into the room and look at this with me. A bid for connection could be, hey, could we talk about what this weekend's going to look like? A bid for connection could be a nonverbal bid where we just go up and we put our arms around somebody, or we slide our hand into theirs, just a nonverbal bid for connection. And so what we want to be aware of is when our partner makes a bid for connection, we want to try to become attuned and aware that they're making that bid and turn towards them in that moment. And here's the key, because life happens and we're not always able to make those bids for connection. We want to be able to let them know that we see the bid and that we want to enter in, but we may not be able to at that moment. So there are many mornings when I say, wait, I just got to go fill up my tea. I'll be right there to see the birds, because I want to make the bid for connection, but I can't do it in that moment. Or some mornings I have to say, hey, I've got to get in the shower right now. I don't have time for the birds. And so could we look at the birds tomorrow? And so we give kind of like a rain check of when we want to say, I want to do this with you, and I see that bid for connection. And so here's when we can have that connection. So we want to give a time that someone can shoot for. We want to acknowledge the bid, and then we want to give a time that we can shoot for that we will be able to connect with them over that later. So bids for connection should become part of the language of our relationship. And again, these are taking place in small moments, but these small moments are what help build a culture in our marriage where each one of us can flourish in a safe and connected relationship. Then one other quick tool that I want to add, and this one comes from the Gottmans too. They talk about how we build appreciation and gratitude in our relationship. So someone defined appreciation as an internal reflection or feeling of being thankful, and gratitude is the deliberate expression of that appreciation. And really what we want to do in our relationships is notice the good. I talk to a lot of couples about something called negative sentiment, where we've been with our partner for so long and we've told a story about them that is not kind or generous. And then we begin to see them and see all their actions through this negative lens. And if we're going to change that negative lens, we're going to have to choose in small moments to notice the good, to intentionally look for positive things that our partner does or qualities that they possess, and not just see them, but be willing to express that to them, to say thank you, to give compliments, to do a lot of noticing. You know what I think about both of these tools of bids for connection and expressing gratitude and appreciation is that consistency really is the key. It's just like all the other hard things in our lives, exercise, eating right. We have to be consistent. If we do it just for a few days and then we let it fall by the wayside, we're going to continue to feel disconnected and probably unsatisfied in our relationships. So the key to both of these tools is to be able to make them almost a habit in our relationship, the habit of noticing bids for connection and making bids for connection, the habit of expressing gratitude and appreciation of our partner. I would encourage you, if you're tempted to think, well, this is no big deal, this isn't gonna save my marriage, or this isn't gonna make any difference, I would encourage you to try it. Try one of these tools or both of them for the next week. And I want you to see, first of all, how hard it actually might be to incorporate this in your daily life. And I also want you to see, if you do incorporate it, what changes are you beginning to notice? I'm not saying that you're going to see change overnight. Just like exercise, you don't get to see the results the first day in the gym. It takes time to see those results, and it takes time to build a culture of flourishing in your relationship. But I just challenge you to try it and see what you notice, and maybe try it without even telling your spouse that you're doing it. So we've created these tools so that this marriage teaching will not just stay in the framework, in the abstract framework, but it will become very practical. So we have a worksheet about this building a culture of flourishing, and it's going to go through all the points that I just covered, but it's also going to give you some discussion questions that if you do want to talk about this with your spouse. It will give you some things to reflect on in your own heart, and then some questions that you can reflect on as a couple. So I would encourage you to take one of these tools and try to implement in your relationship. I usually see people every 2 weeks, and so I give them 2 weeks to give it a really good go. To number one, to try to build a new habit, but also to be able to see what changes it creates in their relationship. So I hope you'll try Bids for Connection and building appreciation and gratitude for 2 weeks and see what happens.